Now, I've been fortunate enough to come through these gates on many occasions and was lucky enough to ride a few winners here in my time. But it'll be slightly different for the jockeys later this month, with the Clarence House Chase meeting now forming part of the Berkshire Winter Million weekend, alongside Royal Windsor. I've got somebody joining me here for a little look round who's enjoyed a few good days here themselves. Jamie Moore.
Hello,
Hello,
Mick.
Jamie.
All right, mate.
How are you?
Good, thank you. You?
Good.
Good.
Fancy having a little look round?
Yep, definitely.
Little trip down memory lane?
Yeah, let's go.
Come on. Let's go in here. Right then, Jamie. Where did you sit?
Just started this way, then down towards the halfway point.
And can you remember the first time you came in here, into the waiting room at Ascot?
I can, yes. But it actually wasn't this way room. It was
the other one out the front.
Yeah. I rode in. They used to do the Bollinger series on the flat, so it was on a 1.5 mile flat race horse called Porak, and I went 5 wide turning in. I don't know if I ever went 5 wide again around Ascot. But then I watch a lot of races now and I see lads always challenging wide. So I'm coming 5 wide, and my dad wasn't too impressed. And I worked for Mr. Pipe at the time, and he gave me both barrels the following morning as well. So yeah.
Baptism of fire.
That's right. Yeah.
But when you walk into these places, what's the first thing you're looking for? Are you looking at jockeys, or it's like me? I can remember the first time I ever walked into the weighing room at the Curragh. I saw Pat Edry, and I didn't know which way to look.
No.
So who was the first jockey that you looked for when you walked in?
Frankie was riding there that day,
Was he?
and you're in awe of them, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, they're superstars. And then jumping, seeing like yourself and McCoy and Dickie Johnson, you know, you kind of just learn to just keep your mouth shut.
But was that it? Like you walk in and you're quiet and you just kind of like want to find your spot and not look out of place? Yeah,
you do, and just blend in. But luckily the valets, you know, they're the ones that get everyone together, and soon enough you become friendly with everyone. Yeah.
And then obviously sauna was down there. It was always a busy spot. Lads running in and out. The scales, where are the scales? Scales are there.
Yeah.
So obviously this is the busiest spot of all, and the panic on people's faces when they come from there to there, and they're not light enough. But you were never really a sauna man, were you?
No, I just go in there for a catch up, really.
Yeah.
Chat away, and it's funny the saunas, they're not there now, but I actually think they were very good, just because you could be on your own, and you could get a young lad that could be in there on his own with yourself or Barry Geraghty or Ruby, AP, you know, and they could actually talk to them because there's no one else to talk to.
Yeah.
And it actually, I think mentally it done the lads good, and you could actually learn so much in that sauna about riding horses or other life skills. You could learn a lot.
You were picking up stuff all the time.
You were, 100%. Yeah. They were great for just learning knowledge, like I say, just about life.
Getting little insights and how guys are probably going to ride a race.
Yeah,
like if they were saying, "Oh, what are you going to do?" And
no, that's right. The sauna talk was always good. It was actually a fun place to be in. Like the lads that were really struggling, sweating. If you had a group of lads in there, it
helped pass the time.
Yeah, that's right. It passed the time a lot easier. So, and like I say, then they'd be sprinting out here, and then Mordy would be getting stressed about the weights of the lads and getting it all wrong.
Yeah. So in a race like the Clarence House Chase, it was interesting listening to you saying, "Oh, my dad gave me a roasting for going 5 wide round here." Is that something that you're very aware of when you're riding on the chase track here?
100%. I always used to try and get down the inner down here. And even in the 3 mile start down there, you see lads all line up, all trying to be handy, going 6, 7, 8 wide. And then you just went bang down the inner behind the leaders, and you used to get such a lovely run around, because nearly every horse seems to always jump a little bit left at Ascot. And you used to just have such a clear run around the inside. And it was always drummed into me from a young age. Ascot, you got to be down the inner.
So when you won on Sire De Grugy, how aware are you of the crowd when you're coming back in?
You are I mean, you get a lot of shouting up over here. And yeah, you get a lot of nice people saying a lot of nice things. So yeah, you are aware of it. Yeah.
And is there anybody in particular in the crowd that you can remember saying stuff to you? Because it's always that thing of that one face, and you go past them and you think, oh, there's such and such.
Yeah, no, I actually can't remember that. No, I can't. I remember Claire Balding doing the interview after, so she was always very, very kind anyway.
Yeah. Now, Jamie, start of the race. What's your plan?
Follow down the inner.
Really?
I always thought the inner was the best shout around Ascot
Yeah.
and Windsor, because a lot of horses do tend to jump out to the left there.
Yeah.
And I always think go down the inner. Yeah.
So did you have a horse in the race that you were thinking, right, I'm going to follow, or this is the horse that I've got to look out for, that's my danger?
No, I thought Somersby was probably the main danger. But to be honest, I thought he'd had every chance, and I just thought keep it simple.
Yeah. So it jumps the first really well. When you get to, I think it's 6 out, and you have a little look across, and are you looking for Somersby?
I must have been looking for Somersby, yeah.
And then what do you think then when you see he's loose? What are you thinking?
Well, yeah, just I only had the ones in front to beat then, and I thought I had them pretty well covered. Yeah, he was a very easy ride this day, to be honest with you.
But it's one of those races, is it, where everything just seems to happen like you wanted to?
But this jump here, I landed in between the two of them, and then he started pulling with me. Like when you're starting to pull in a grade 1.
But can you actually believe that in a race like the Clarence House, you're still running away, going to 2
No,
hours?
I couldn't, and that's why this day it was definitely the best feel I've ever had of him. It rained in the morning, so the ground was always wet, and the ground was wet, and when the ground was wet, that's when he was at his best. But even at the last, like there was only a long stride on, and I mean the way
there was never any doubt you weren't.
No, that's right. Yeah, we were going for it, and he was coming. But no, he's a brilliant jump.
But like this long look round here, when you look round and you're this far clear in a grade 1, like what are you thinking?
I was so proud of him, of what he'd done, because the feeling I got from that day, like I said, was it was just magic. Everything was going well. When you're on a horse as good as that, everything does go right, because they are that little bit better than the opposition. So no, it was a magic day.
And then when you're going past the line, everybody's congratulating you, saying well done. Are you floating at this stage?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. It's the biggest race that Ascot over jumps to win. So it was. I mean, actually, I remember walking out, and Ryan, he actually said to me, "It's only 85 grand to win." I said, "Don't worry," So he was he was trying to calm me down a bit. So yeah.
But there was a magical moment when you crossed the line on the horse, and just as you went past the line, you reach over and you literally put your arms around his neck.
Yeah. I've said it loads of times. What he meant to me was it was special, So
was he your, like? I think we all have one, but like, was he your horse of a lifetime?
Oh yeah. Without any shadow, definitely. But it was also for what he done after racing as well. What he done for me. He meant the absolute world to me. The absolute world to me. Yeah. No, I miss him.
Jamie, the walk off the track, in underneath the archway, one to savour, isn't it, when you've won a big one?
100%. To be honest, any race at Ascot always meant a hell of a lot to me. For me, it's my favourite track in the country, and every single little win, even if it's just a bumper here, it was always special coming back in. And there's a lot of work to get any horse to win any race, so to win one here would be definitely more special.
Director of Racing Nick Smith, talking about the Clarence House Chase and Ascot. It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We've been very lucky the last few years to see some pretty good clashes in that race. I mean, it's always a small field, that's what you'd expect. But if we get another big clash, John Bond and Urgent, that kind of thing, like we had a few years ago with the same horse against Shishkin. Yeah, fantastic. I mean, a lot of people think that's one of the best jumps races they've ever seen, certainly outside of the festival. Hopefully more of the same.
Yeah, and can you just tell us a little bit about this inaugural Berkshire weekend. How did that come about that yourself and Windsor?
Well, I mean, credit to ARC really. I mean, it was their idea, it was their initiative, and we're near neighbours, and it certainly looks like it's going to be a tremendous success. They had a great first day jumping back, didn't they, a few weeks ago on that Sunday. Good crowd, and although it's a different delineation of track now, jumping at Windsor was always great. I mean, you'll remember as well as me the New Year's Day hurdle there. It was fantastic on a fantastic occasion. So hopefully this is going to breathe a lot of life back into Windsor in terms of its jumping programme. Never had any problems on the flat, obviously. And just kind of made sense. I mean, if they were going to move those races to Windsor, to amalgamate the meetings and effectively do something which I don't think anyone's done before, which is to co-promote I'm not going to say a festival, but a meeting over 3 days at 2 different venues. And we're so close. And if people have never been racing at Ascot or probably more likely never been racing at Windsor, see elite racing, the Clarence House, 175,000, we're a 400,000 plus day. It's a million, obviously. Yeah. So ARC have properly come to the table there with some serious prize money for this new initiative.
Jamie, this all sounds really good, doesn't it? Like all this prize money on offer. I bet you probably wish you were still riding, do you?
Yeah, I do. I actually did really want to. I was looking forward to riding at Windsor with it coming back, because when they shut down Ascot, we rode there for a couple of seasons, didn't we? And
it's right at the Christmas meeting.
Yeah, and it seemed to work well. It was just a different configuration then, but I think it's a great initiative. I think it does seem to make sense, and I think you are going to get new people coming to see racing, which is what we all want for the sport.
Here we go, Jamie. Back to Windsor Racecourse.
Royal Windsor, brilliant.
How nice is it having jump racing back here?
I think it's fabulous. I think it's a great initiative, and it's going to get great for the local community to come and see some jump racing.
Yeah.
And I mean, flat racing is fine. It's great, but I think it'll give them all, probably the younger children that live locally, can see horses jumping fences.
Yeah.
Will be brilliant for them.
I think they had good crowds here on the opening day. I do think sandwiched in with Ascot in the middle will make people even want to come that little bit more.
Definitely, 100%, and there could be some good horses for the die-hard fans that want to see the horses, but equally, I mean, the meeting on the Sunday, you always get good crowds on a Sunday, so...
You're going to have a few runners?
All being well, yeah, we'll have a few runners. I'm not sure what definite runners yet, but we'll definitely run as many as we can anyway, yeah.
For a lot of the jockeys who rode here, they'll feel like they've got a bit of an edge, because it must have been weird for a lot of those lads coming here to ride for the first time, having never ridden at the track.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, the ones that have had a little bit of match practice, it can only be beneficial.
Yeah. Right, let's go and have a little look round.
Go and have a look.
Jamie, nice to have racing back here at Windsor. How do you think some of those lads who'd never ridden here would have felt coming to ride at a track that they'd never even seen before?
I think they would have been wary of what to do, or thinking a lot more of, usually you just turn up at a track, you've ridden there loads of times, you just carry on. But I think that day they would have, or when they got here, they'd have walked the course and just work out the quickest way from A to B.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And they'll still be learning, It's, and they'll be watching races, trying to work out where the best place to be and where to kick and stuff like that. So,
do you think that was a bit of a learning curve for every jockey that was there? Because you rode on the test day here,
yeah.
And watching how the races rode compared to what it felt like to you when you were just riding around here, to me it seemed different.
Yeah. The trial day we had here, and I kind of thought it could be a front runner's track, and we all sort of thought the same thing. And then I think the first couple of races, they seemed to be going quite hard in front and then falling in a bit of a hole. So they learned quite quickly, really, that you probably didn't want to be pressing as early as what you thought you needed to be, because the ground it could be soft enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all learning, and yeah, you just got to work out where you think the best place to kick and take a pull and give a breather, and yeah, you just got to think a little bit.
Jamie, your memories of riding here, you were saying that when Monet's Garden won, you were riding one of Pipes in behind.
Yeah, and Barracuda was in behind as well that day, and obviously a few other rides here, but there's a figure of 8 back then.
Yeah.
So
how different was it riding it not a figure of 8?
yeah, I thought it was very different when I did the trials day here and I was watching it, because I had watched thousands of races here on the flat as well, mainly on the flat. And obviously when you rode here as well, you sort of do remember little bits and bobs. And then the other day when we cantered around here, I did just find it strange. I mean, there was no fences there at the time, so you're trying to work out where to go, and there's the little dog legs and the kinks, and obviously this bend was quite sharp, and they ironed out a few little things. But yeah, we always thought you could crack on, and win the race from the front, but it did show that it's quite a long straight here still, isn't it? You know, so
a lot of those horses that went early,
yeah,
in the hurdle races, they didn't get home.
No, they fell in a hole. Yeah, they fell in a hole. So yeah, you have got to just respect the track still a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought over fences though it was a little bit easier
Yeah.
to ride, because it seemed like the fences were making the horses back off a little bit more.
Yeah.
I thought they jumped quite well, the fence.
They looked like jumped well for portable fences. They did. They looked like they had been well designed with a nice big belly on the front of the fences.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't really look like there's any too many issues jumping wise anyway. And yeah, with the fences coming at you down the back straight, at least you can always fill the horse's lungs in as well. So it is easier to get home over fences than it is over hurdles.
Certainly the lads that rode for you, what did they make of it?
Yeah, they didn't really say too much really. I mean, they're all kind of young lads, and it was a new track, and they thought it rode better than what it walked. In fairness to them, you know, they said it was actually all. It rode okay.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot, but do you know what? That was my take from it.
Yeah.
I know when I walked the track and when you turned down the back straight, I thought those 2 fences in the back straight came at you real quick.
Yeah.
But actually, when the races were being run, it didn't seem to be that.
No, it is strange, and I mean, like you and Andrew likened it to Utoxia, and there's that fence straight off the bend at Utoxia, and when you're riding, you didn't really think about it. You just went and rode it. So yeah, I think once you're on the backs, it probably does ride better than what it's going to walk.
Yeah. Charlie, it was nice to have jumping back. What was the general feeling?
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a great day, and we learnt a lot as to be expected, but I think the feedback overall was quite positive, and we're ready to go for the Berkshire Winter Million.
And what was the biggest takeaway from the day's racing that you had?
Well, from a racecourse side, we learnt a lot. Obviously, for the ground stuff, it's all quite new. They spent a lot of time at Lingfield and other racecourses within the Arena Racing Group jumping, but to do it on your own course, everything's new to them. So they learnt a lot, but also it was great to hear the feedback from the jockeys and the trainers as to what sort of horses they think throughout the day. They sort of learnt a bit more and what they think will suit Windsor moving forward.
Yeah, and when you were watching the racing as they were unfolding, were you thinking, I told you it would be like that, or I thought, that's a bit of a surprise?
No, I think we were all surprised that, you know, they come off the Marina bend there at the top of the course, and I think a lot of people thought that you could nip a race from there, but I think they were surprised that you do have to stay and hit the line still here.
Because Jamie was here for one of the test days, and I think you were surprised at how it rode, weren't you?
Yeah. No, I wasn't. Like I say, all the feedback was, you could just nick a race from the front here, and you definitely couldn't. No, quite evident really that you couldn't just kick on, and yeah, you're home and hosed at the 3 furlong marker. You had to take your time a little bit more.
Yeah, do you think because of the watering aspect of that new ground down the far side, did any of the jockeys even comment on it? Did they even realise they were going across different ground?
No one commented, which was fantastic, and that was probably the most sort of the good thing about the day, is we didn't really have any negative feedback at all, which was fantastic, and it was any feedback that we did receive was just to try and help us moving forwards.
Yeah, and is there anything that you've done in particular since the last meeting?
Well, we're going to move all the fences and all the hurdles onto fresh lines now, and that was all sort of predetermined on the BHA trial gallop there back in November. But apart from that, no, everything's sort of as we hoped.
One of the great things about this Berkshire weekend is the fact that you're sandwiched in between a prestigious meeting at Ascot. That's like fantastic for Windsor.
Yeah, it's really great. 3 days of racing just down the road. All the locals can come and experience 3 days of top quality jumps racing for as little as £40, which is fantastic value.
Yeah, well, that's 3 days of, like you say, top quality as well. You know, you guys must be pleased as well to be tied in with Ascot in that way.
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, the Clarence House is a huge race, but to be running 2 big cards either side of it, with the Sovereign Hurdle worth £110,000 on the Friday, and then the Fleur de Lis Chase worth £165,000 on the Sunday is huge for us, and hopefully it's going to be a great weekend and something that will really cement itself in the fixture list.
Jamie, I think it's safe to say that the first day at Windsor went quite well, so it's quite exciting to think that it's going to be a weekend sandwich with Ascot in between.
I think a really good initiative. It's something it's new and fresh for the sport. It's what we need, and yeah, it's a beautiful track to do it at as well. You know, Ascot's obviously lovely, but this one's just very unique as well in its own special way.
Yeah, and it's the fact that for a lot of the jockeys there's no real advantage, is there? Because it's a new track for everyone.
It's a new track, and the only advantage of being on the best horse.